Good evening and welcome to another Memorabilia show. We know there's other things going on in America, but we still want to talk about this and doing our jobs. Obviously doesn't mean that that isn't important, but hopefully, if you can, this will give you a break. We've really enjoyed talking about The Last Dance and the memorabilia associated with The Last Dance. And as memorabilia has just hit a touch point in this country, when you talk about the quarantine, Corona, people at home, people nostalgic, people buying on eBay. Memorabilia has never been hotter. And it's been tremendously interesting to cover, especially Jordan. We'll talk to Jeff Woolf a little bit later of Iconic Auctions. Last night, auctioned off a couple of Jordan items, including I did win something, actually. I won a champagne bottle full from the 1991 finals, the Bulls' first championship, signed by Michael Jordan, obtained by the Lakers ball boy. So that will become part of my collection. How long it stays in there, I don't know, but we will see. So I'm very excited to have that. We are also giving away, courtesy of Jeff Wolf at Iconic, a Bryce Harper rookie signed baseball. Actually changed his autograph. So it is a rookie signed baseball. Make sure you follow the Action Network HQ on Twitter and hashtag MJRaffle5. All right, let's get right to it. Our first guest is Andrew Goldberg. I read about him and his amazing ticket collection a couple weeks ago. Wanted to have him on. Andrew, first of all, welcome to the show. I gotta say that I think tickets now are hotter than ever. I think people before who had tickets in the style that you do were called hoarders, and now they're called smart. So tell me how things went down with trying to collect every Michael Jordan career game ticket.
Well, Darren, first of all, thanks for having me on the show. This is it's been pretty crazy, the timing of everything. No sports, everyone at home, and then there's The Last Dance, and it's like the only thing to watch. And so, there's been this explosion and interest in Michael Jordan stuff. And I grew up in the northern suburb of Chicago, Highland Park. And so, of course, I grew up as a Bulls fan.
Did you know our head of content, Chad Millman?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. He's also a Highland Park guy, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, I mean, Highland Park has lots of connections. I mean, Cards Against Humanity was created by Highland Parkers, so we have lots of claims to fame there, right? But it's and Michael Jordan, of course, was hugely popular everywhere. But if you lived in the Chicago area, he was everything. And so I was a huge fan. And I collected some sports cards, growing up, but I wasn't huge into it. I had, I still have some of them. But when I was in, let's say it was junior high school, Jordan he had maybe had 4 scoring titles in a row. Was a season ticket holder for about 25 years of the Bulls. He shared some tickets with some buddies. And so it was a treat if I got to go to 3 to 4, maybe 5 games a year. And after a while, scoring like 4 scoring titles in a row, I thought to myself, I wonder, just like somebody today, back then, would value a ticket stub from a game that Babe Ruth played in, I would project that maybe many years down the line that someone would want a ticket stub from a game that Michael Jordan played in. And his career is nowhere near complete yet. He's only won 4 scoring titles in a row, but he's special already. And it didn't seem like there was any end in sight.
And what year?
So I started that's got to be like the late 80s. When I really started, just collecting the ones that from the games that I went to. And then when my father went, I would, and without me, I said, I asked him if he could, keep the tickets, and bring them back home. And of course, at first he was terrible.
Go to the game and then get me the tickets back.
Yeah, bring back the ticket. Of course, he would fold it, put in his pocket, and I was like, no, please, and eventually asked him to, put in an envelope and put in the breast pocket or something like that. But it really wasn't until many years later, I kept them, I squirreled them away. And then 2015, I just had this idea that I wanted to collect every game from the 95, 96 Bulls season, the 72 and 10 year. And I thought if I could get all 82 of those tickets in the playoff run, could make for a really cool wall piece for the man cave.
Oh,
And
that'd be a hell of a wall.
yeah, it would be amazing. And, it was a special team, obviously, still is. And as I was looking for the tickets, I started seeing tickets from all these other years. And I thought, oh, geez, this may be a little crazy here, but I think I'm going to try to get a ticket from every game. So I started, I put together spreadsheets to make sure I knew, how many games he really played. Because there were many seasons he played all 82 games, but there were some where he was injured for a couple games here and there.
Of course, with the exception of 85, 86, where he missed 66, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, okay. Do you have a wife?
I do.
Okay. And what did
Still.
and at what point in the project did she find out?
Oh, she knew, right away. And
really?
Yeah.
My wife finds out 90% through my projects when all of a sudden she goes, Venmo comes to my phone as well. And then I discovered the half cash, half Venmo possibility. And let's not go there. I don't want to get in trouble.
Danger.
So she was supportive. Now let me quickly interject. So I recently got the Shrug game.
Yep.
Okay. And I paid $550 for this.
Okay.
Okay. Buying it at the height, of course, because I needed it. And I wanted the I'm Back game. This is a beautiful ticket.
Yep.
It's kind of like weird dot matrixy. And I paid $525. The Shrug game, I paid $550. I paid $525 for this. But back in 2015, you're rocking and rolling. How many tickets do you now have out of how many? And what has been your budget?
So I now have, as of today, 896 unique games out of the 1,264. And the 1,264 comprises of the Bulls regular season games, the Bulls playoff runs, and the Wizards regular season games, plus 13 All-Star appearances. So I'm not counting in that all the preseason games, which I have some of them, but that wasn't part of the original, hunt. And I'm not counting all the exhibition games, and there are a ton of those, or college games or anything like that.
Can you tell me how much you've spent? Now realize I have just told you I spent $1,200 on 2 tickets. Why don't you show me what a stooge I am now?
No, look, I've probably spent upwards of about $500 on a ticket.
Right.
And as the Last Dance sort of bump has come, I have the majority of the tickets, of the key games.
But hasn't more stuff come out all of a sudden, things that you were missing? Because now there was never like 100 different game stubs of Jordan. Now everyone's posting everything. And there's actually some really nice condition ones that I'm sure you've never seen.
Yeah. And that's also been really exciting. So as word has gotten out a little bit that I've got this collection, I've been really touched that, many people have reached out to me directly to say, hey, I've got some tickets, do you need this? And in some cases, for, some money in exchange. And in some cases, I've actually received some tickets that people have just said, here, just take these. I want these to be a part of your collection. And there was a recent situation where someone had reached out to me. This is just last few weeks. This gentleman said, I've got these tickets. I don't really have a need for them. I said, well, it looks like these are some valuable ones. What do you want for them? And he just sent them to me.
Oh my God.
And I'll tell you what they were. It was games, home games 1, 2, and 6 of the 97 finals. So 6, of course, is the clinching game. And they full, unused, really good looking tickets. So there's a lot of value there. And those are
$1,500 a piece right now, pretty much, I think, right?
Clinching could be. I don't know about games 1 and 2.
The flu game right now is and obviously that was an away game, is running 1,200 to 1,500 right now for sure.
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. I saw a pair of those recently sell
For
on eBay
2,100. Yeah.
just over $2,000.
Yeah. So does this prove that like do you feel like because I feel like because I'm collecting them like crazy now.
Yeah.
I feel like and they're so cool. Like on the back of the Shrug game, it's like the 100-point Pizza Hut challenge. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of
Right.
cool. Right. Like people who are of your and our age, like the fact that tickets don't really exist anymore, the
Hmm.
fact that they're really pieces of art that they
Yep.
immediately bring us back. And
Yeah.
now that they're are all yours now, I assume not because this would be crazy, but are all yours slabbed and how do you store
No.
them?
No. So I store them in boxes upright. The majority of them are in top loaders. And many of them are slabbed. I'll slab what I consider the key games. And so I'll slab anything that's from the rookie year. I'll slab any finals game. And then after that, it just depends. So if it's like the career high 69-point game, I'll slab that. There's the shot two, the I'm back game, the double nickel game. There's so many named games, beyond,
By the way, the shot game seems to be
yes,
very hard, but the 69-point game, his high, also against the Cavs, seems to be easy. Why do you think? I mean, they're both at Richfield Coliseum.
right.
Why do you think that is? You think more people saved the shot because they knew it versus what happened in the game, like the 69? Who knew at that point that was going to be Jordan's high? What makes something rare or not rare in your mind?
In my mind, I mean, the rarity is really, so I've been looking at this for, 5 years, pretty consistently. And I would say part of the, rarity for me is I've seen what's come out, and what's available. So for the flu game does not come out very often. So that's pretty rare. The shot is almost never seen, quite
Never.
frankly.
I have not seen the shot. I've been looking for the shot. I've been willing to pay whatever. I see
Yeah,
the 69-point thing going all the time.
right.
But and then okay, I have a couple more questions here. So what's
Yeah.
the one you really want that you haven't seen?
Well, I mean, I've seen it. It's just a matter of paying for it, which is the debut game, which October 26th, 1984. In the last 18 months, it sold for something like $33,000 on one of those auction sites.
But that
Um,
but that was the preseason one. The one, but
nope,
yeah,
no, 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 no. I'm talking about the debut, but this is pre-dance, right?
got
Then yes, a few weeks ago
that
or
was
2 weeks ago, that was the preseason one in Peoria.
right.
That was the simple looking Ticketmaster one, 34,000. So imagine what the debut must be
Well, and then
worth now.
the thing is, this past week, the on Huggins and Scott auction, I don't know if you saw that.
I saw that. Yeah.
I bid up to $6,000. I was going to pay that, and then it sold for 24,000, and I'm like, oh
Right.
come on. So that's
And that was the blue version.
right.
So I think, and I don't know if I'm exactly correct on this, but I think the blue version is the box office version, and the
Correct.
red version is the season ticket holder version. So I think there's more value placed on the season ticket holder version.
If you believe that they're pieces of art, you don't want that Ticketron, right? So do you
No.
do a premium for the season ticket version? Would you pay a premium?
Yes, yes, I would pay more for that. I'm not, in fact, I don't collect Ticketmaster or Ticketron at all.
Got it. My final thing for you is I'm asking if you have this one, and this has not been talked about as I can't believe I'm going to blow my cover here. This is so stupid. I need the November 84 game against the 76ers uh,
Mm.
because that is the first game that Jordan wore his Air Jordans, and I want to get it slabbed.
Oh,
I want to get it slabbed as first game he wore Air Jordans. I
oh wow.
cannot find that thing.
I tell you, out of his rookie year, I only have 38 of the games,
Right.
and I don't have that one. Um, but one that I do have that's pretty special is I do have his first preseason game in Chicago. So this is October 19th,
Oh, that's
1984. and it's a full ticket, red version. It got graded with PSA as a 6, which is, pretty good for, a ticket. And it's the population report on PSA shows that there's only been 2 seen by
Wow.
PSA. One's a stub and one's a full. The full is mine. So I wonder, if that Peoria one, sold for 34,000. I don't know what this is worth, but it's his first time putting on the number 23 in Chicago Stadium, and that's got to be pretty special.
Well, Andrew, I think you're a very smart man who has been proven right. I hope that you've had the conversation with your wife as to the value of the collection that you put in. Anytime any of my memorabilia increases, whether I sell it or not, I tell the wife just so that she
Yes.
knows. So thank you so much for joining. And we'll talk about some doubles that you might or might not have, so that I could give you a little bit more money to pay for more of the 84 tickets now that it's going to be a little bit harder. So thank you, Andrew.
Sounds good.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Darren. Appreciate the time.
All right. That was Andrew Goldberg, the collector of Michael Jordan game tickets. We are having a raffle, last chance to get in. Action Network HQ, please follow that. Hashtag MJ Raffle 5. The raffle is a Bryce Harper rookie signed baseball, and it's courtesy of Iconic Auctions. And joining me now is Jeff Woolf of Iconic Auctions. I mentioned off the start of the show that I did purchase a bottle from the 1991 finals that was full, and that was part of Jeff's auction. I don't see him yet. Is Jeff here? I see that Jeff's here. I'm looking for Jeff. You there?
Yeah, I'm here, Darren. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see your video.
Okay, I'm trying to get that.
This is how we do it sometimes.
Of course, the 50 million times I went on video in these last 3 months with my kids
at
school, it worked perfectly fine. But
perfectly fine.
Yeah, for some reason,
even if your voice is there, I mean, we'll hope we get there. You are.
There I am.
All right, awesome. Look at that. Accepting consignments. The man is. So last night you had a great auction. You sold the Michael Jordan love letter, which 6 years ago sold for like $2,500. You sold it for $25,000. What's your thoughts on Jordan right now? There are some people who say, I don't know if it's ever going to come down. And we feel like this is the height, but where are you on Jordan?
Well, first and foremost, the most important thing is I wanted to let you know, in honor of you, I wore my Iconic Auctions trucker hat. A little disappointed to see it cleaned up. You didn't wear your trucker hat, but there we go. There we go.
Trucker hats, yeah.
So in regards to Jordan stuff, I felt this coming on for a while. I was telling my partner back middle of last year, I just saw it coming together with him. He's a unique figure in that he revolutionized the sport of basketball. And it's to the likes that we really only saw that last time we saw that was Babe Ruth with baseball. And so I always felt like for a while he was kind of being overlooked. And as basketball has swelled up, so has Jordan. So middle of last year, I was telling my partner, we should probably jump on these Jordan, the 86 Flares, because I feel like they're going to, in a couple of years, they're going to be 6-figure cards. Little did I know, it was less than a year later, we'd be looking at them, approaching the 6-figure mark. But in regards to his value, because he is that unique figure and it goes above and beyond what he did on the court, on the court obviously is what laid the foundation, but he's become such an icon that you might see at times a leveling off period, and we might reach that now that the Last Dance is over with. You might see a leveling off period on his values, but I highly doubt you're going to see some massive dip in value with him. And if anything, we might be at the beginning of things with him because people are just starting to realize how significant he is to the world of sports and to culture in general.
You sold the Wilson signed basketball. You sold a bunch of things. I mean, we're talking above, like Upper Deck prices. Oh, he only used to sign Wilson because he had a Wilson deal. Beautiful
Yep.
signature. So I guess my next question is, we've talked a lot about how the memorabilia market over the last couple months has brought new people in. What percentage of the people who won in your auction last night came out of nowhere?
Um, that's a good question. I don't have a quantified number for it, but if I had to quantify
What
it,
is was it recognizable?
yeah, I mean, fresh faces. Yeah, there was definitely over the last, I would say, 90 days, if you would qualify that as the period since we've kind of undergone all this Corona stuff. I've definitely we've seen auction over auction. We've seen a record number of new signups. We've seen a record number of participants, a record number of bidding activity, in part because of our regular clients who probably are collectors and they just, feel it as well and they're at home. But we are definitely seeing a significant amount of new clients. If I had to guesstimate, 20%, which, that's a fifth. That's a pretty substantial amount of activity.
We just got one of our guys, Blue State 206 2016, said, I think they're investors, not collectors. And there has been this talk over, all these rumors. Hey, there's these guys that got a $10 million sports memorabilia fund, all these rumors that they're rolling it over. Or, one of the reasons why we love to talk about this at the Action Network is this is gambling. It's the same as the stock market. This is, so is there a sense that there's something greater than what has been before in this industry, that these people are trying to make money? Now, we've had that with cards. I
Yep.
don't think we've had that as much with memorabilia. So is that?
No, memorabilia has been, it's like the tortoise and the hare, and the hare has been usually the sports card market. You see these big surges and then it cools off, or you have the collapse of the late 80s, early 90s, and memorabilia has always been slow and steady but on an upward trend. And this is really the first time I can say I've seen, and I've been doing auctions full time now for 20 years. This is the first time I've seen a legitimate surge across the board with the memorabilia included. And it's funny you bring up that it's gambling and investors. My take on it from my experience is, if you're investing in the right names, the iconic names, the Jordans, the Babe Ruths, the Mickey Mantles, people, Wayne Gretzky, the icons of their sports, I would call that investing. If you're investing in, and I think they're phenomenal players, but if you're investing in Trout, Luka Doncic, Zion, that's kind of gambling, because those guys are still active players and they're one injury away from being
Right.
a sad story, or a what if story. And so, there's plenty, and that's maybe the appeal is there's both avenues. Jordan is a blue chip investment in our world.
Yeah.
Luka Doncic is a great prospective commodity.
Right. It's amazing to see. I don't trust cards because I was burned in the early 90s as a kid, and I just don't trust cards. And as memorabilia, I don't need a population report to tell me that this is one of one or one of two. There just can't be that many of them. So to me, that's really my angle. I have comfort in that, and I'm memorabilia too on the grading. Like, yeah, there's questionable stuff, but like still, if you get a good piece, it is a good piece. I just wanted to talk about last night. What surprised you the most? I know we had the 50 NBA players lithograph signed by I think 49, right? Everyone but Maravich, who was dead.
Yep.
And that piece always brings a great number. Were you happy with that? That was 20.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, and that's memorabilia is hard. Part of what makes cards prolific is because it can be commoditized and numerized and populated. And memorabilia is always kind of, everything's a one-off, so it's hard to say. But that litho is one of the few things where you can look at that and say that's kind of almost a commodity, because there was a certain amount of them made. There are certain versions of them made. They've been out now in the market for 20 plus years. and they've always held steady value, but you're starting to see as basketball has surged. I think with the premium and everything, it was close to 30. It was like 28 and change, that the one we sold last night. And that was what you would call the quote unquote entry level version of that litho, where they made, I think, 100 of them or something, and they were just distributed to the public. And they have the ones that were given directly to the players, but those ones were going for like 15 to 20 a
Right.
year ago. You could easily have your hands on them for that. So you're talking, about 100% increase over the course of a year.
The rookie Drew,
That's a pretty significant, surge.
okay, the rookie Drew Brees helmet, that completely caught me off guard. If you were to ask, and again, I've been in memorabilia forever. If you were to ask me what that sells for, I would say $5,000. And it sold for what did it sell for?
35 with the premium, 35,000.
That's an insane price for a helmet.
Well, but here's the thing about that, though, Darren. I mean, let's look at it. Drew Brees is on the Mount Rushmore of the NFL now. Arguably one of the most likable figures ever. Currently, he holds the record for the most career touchdown passes thrown, although him and Brady are going to be duking it out until one of them finally hangs it up. Chances are he's got a 7 touchdown lead, I think, right now. But, with that helmet especially, the guy is, it's like, what would Barry Bonds' number 1 bat go for? What would Wayne Gretzky's first gold stick go for? That he holds a very prestigious stat line in football. And this is a helmet that was photo matched not only to the game that he debuted in, but pretty much for most of his entire rookie season. So, first touchdown game, first NFL start, pretty much his primary first helmet for him being in the league. It's a substantial piece.
I have to run because we made this a 30-minute show. Great auction last night.
Thank you, sir.
You guys run a great auction house. Even if the auction ends at 4 a.m., that'll be an advantage because I don't go to sleep. But thank you so much. And thanks for donating our giveaway, the Bryce Harper rookie signed baseball. Ben Davis
absolutely
at Scando76 is the winner. We'll get your address. And
all right.
You and
congrats, Ben.
Check out Iconic Auctions. And thanks so much for joining. I appreciate it, Jeff.
Thank you, Darren. Appreciate you, my friend.
Okay. So we're not leading up into the big dance tonight. We're leading up into the big Lance, if you want. ESPN showing the second part of its Lance Armstrong documentary. Maybe we'll do Lance memorabilia next week, but we will continue to do this memorabilia show. We love doing it. We love to see the market go crazy. We love to see the new people in it. It is a form of gambling. It is a form of new investing, and so many people are in it, and we will continue to cover it. So for Evan Abrams and Scott Miller and Chad Millman and anyone else who's running this show, all of the Action Network, I'm Darren Rovell. Have a good night.